Alison and Ben are from the BBC, and they're part of the team behind the hugely successful new app, Sounds. Alison, you're part of research at the BBC. Why the new app? What was wrong with the pre-existing platform?
It wasn't that anything was necessarily wrong with the pre-existing platform, which is still in operation, iPlayer Radio, but we could see that was probably super serving some of our BBC core audiences. And what we were seeing from a lot of data sources was especially younger people drifting away to perhaps more on-demand formats around music and speech, which we weren't surfacing in iPlayer Radio, and it wasn't really built around that sort of experience. We also saw that audiences were discovering content in new ways as well, based on recommendations and what you find typically in Netflix and YouTube.
Okay.
So we wanted to build a product that could surface different content in different ways, especially aimed at addressing some of the challenges with young audiences.
Because as you said, the BBC iPlayer had an app version, but how was that not working for younger audiences then?
So I think the challenge with iPlayer Radio is that it worked very much on you having a pre-existing relationship with our linear radio brands. So you would go in there and you know that you love Radio 4 or you know that you love Greg James on Radio 1, you go and find it. If, as we saw the world was moving to, you wanted to just find content to make you laugh, find something for your commute, it's much harder to navigate.
So a bit like YouTube when it says, oh, you like this video, you might like this video.
That's exactly the world we want to move to.
There we go. So Ben, you look after the editorial for Sounds. So was there anything different in terms of the content that was going to be on Sounds as opposed to the player? Or were you just presenting it in a different way?
Well, a bit of both really. So first off, we identified a bit of a gap in our portfolio. So thanks to a lot of Alison's work, we're able to really clearly see that we weren't doing certain types of content for younger audiences in particular. So we weren't delivering scripted comedy, for example, for young. And when we looked at our portfolio of podcasts, there were certain types of podcasts that we just weren't creating. So we've been really targeting the gap, and we've been using audience need states rather than traditional genre to make sense of that world. So we're now doing more dramatic storytelling, which may be a drama, a scripted drama, but equally it could be a true crime podcast, but anything that has a big narrative arc. So we've been looking at the world of content very differently, commissioning content for younger audiences in speech. We've also been looking at music content because we have a new rights deal, which we are slowly understanding the opportunities for new music mixes, playlists and so on.
And has the commissioning system changed in that if I have an idea, let's say for a 6-part crime documentary series or podcast series, and if I wanted to end up on Sounds, could it be made primarily for Sounds, or is it still going to be on an FM service first and then end up on Sounds, if you understand?
It can be made primarily for Sounds, although we will be looking to give it as greater impact as we could if there's an opportunity for us to broadcast it somewhere, if it's a good fit. 5 Live been doing some fantastic work there in the UK. So yeah, we will fit it in, but yeah, if you've got a great idea, send it in. I mean, we've got a commissioning round that's open. You can go and have a look on our commissioning website. So yeah.
What has surprised you most about the impact of Sounds and the uptake and the content on it? Like maybe that has surprised you, that the audience have really engaged with? Look at that man, a man deep in thought there.
There's so many things. There's so many things. I mean, the Brexit cast conversation is exciting because it's politics, and politics is normally pretty boring. And we've had a lot of Brexit in the UK, right? A lot of it. So to really be able to use podcasts as an opportunity to have a conversation, a light-hearted conversation that can bring all opinions together. They've done a fantastic job, and the success of that was really quite surprising. But generally, podcasts take a while to grow, so we've seen the development of it.
Yeah.
Alison, what about you? Is there anything about this project that has really surprised you?
Well, I should say no, shouldn't I? Because it's all informed by audience
Exactly.
research and insight.
You saw it all coming.
I mean, I think one of the things, because we haven't had a view in the past on how people are consuming on-demand content, so we were looking in the presentation just now about when people consume podcasts. And all the data we've had before, outside and inside the BBC, is about downloads of podcasts. This is when they're actually listening. And I was surprised just how they are being used as a substitute for live radio. So we hear anecdotally, qualitatively, people saying they now wake up to podcasts. I wasn't sure if that was a thing. We're seeing that happening. We're seeing people listening mid-morning, presumably at work, mid-afternoon. So that I'm finding really interesting.
What's it going to look like, very quickly, Alison, in 5 years?
Well, we did show what definitely, I won't have a forecast in there, we'd extrapolated from Rajar's Midas survey, the whole audio market out for a few years. And we definitely see this shift from linear to on-demand continuing. which doesn't mean that linear won't still be very strong. It's still absolutely dominant for our older audiences, but we do see this shift to on-demand continuing, which is why we thought it's not an option for the BBC not to be in this field. We need to get into this area.
Alison and Ben, congratulations on Sounds. Fantastic app. If you haven't got it, download it and enjoy the rest of your time here in Switzerland.